Here's the other Sony TV. It's a 70-inch Sony TV, and it's having a blacklight issue, and it's actually a really simple fix. It just has these protection diodes that have gone bad, and so you can just break it off. The only tool you need is basically a screwdriver, and you can get your 70-inch TV working again. So again, Sony it's a good brand. They do tape a lot of things, but from my repair experiences, I do recommend Sony TVs. They have better quality than what I've been seeing. But in this case, it actually has too much quality in that it has these protection diodes, and if they go, then the TV doesn't turn on. But it's a simple fix there. So I just put it on my bench here, and I'm using an ice cube tray to keep all my screws organized and all that, and just use an electric drill. Just go around, and then you'll just take off the screws around the outside, and then you can pry it up, and inside it has this little cable that you can disconnect. There's a power cable that just goes through that hole, and the audio cable you can just disconnect. With that off, this is your main power supply board. I know it's good because I've seen the green standby light. So usually the power supply boards don't go bad. It's usually a main board like this board, or the backlights, and you can follow the little strip that goes back to your backlights there, and it has a little indicators about the plus and minus, like the LED plus and LED minus. And I would say get a LED tester. You can just buy it on Amazon, whatever, eBay for like $20, and it can go up to like 300 volts. So that it's very low amperage, like 40 amps. So it's safe. You could touch it, you know. And I injected voltage, but you should see a glow, like shining at the very back, right? But I didn't see anything, so obviously it's the backlight. Like 90% of the time, the TVs have bad backlights. Like it's just crazy, like how easily they go bad, and it's usually because the brightness is set up to like 100%. So I always tell my customers to reduce the brightness, and that should be good. To take this TV apart, you need to take off the LCD panel. So there's these little ribbon cables that you first need to take off, because they're connected to the LCD panel. And this one has some aluminum tape here. So again, the Sony TVs, they just really love to tape and glue stuff. I think it does help, but it's a lot harder to repair them in that regards. But they are put together better, I would say. Yeah, so, and it has these little tape on the bottom too. So this, any kind of tape, just go around the bottom of the LCD panel, and we'll have to be taking this metal bracket off as well, because underneath it is this. So I flipped over the TV, and then around the outside, you'll see that they have these like little screws. So you just basically need a screwdriver, a small screwdriver, and you can fix this whole TV. You don't need any other real tools, but it's handy to have an LED tester. But usually you just go right to the backlights. Like usually that's the problem if you're having a black screen. So with the screws removed, I'm just taking off the plastic bezel, and just, take your time. This repair probably will take about 3 hours. Like it's not, it is a simple fix, but it does take time to remove stuff, and just by going slowly, And then at the very bottom here, we have this metal bracket that protects the LCD cables that connect to the LCD panel. And I'm just going, normally TVs, they don't have this, but Sharp does have that kind of protection stuff. And then I'm taking the PCB board and I'm taping it to the LCD screen. Just don't bend the ribbon cable too much. I'm just flipping it over and basically taping it onto the LCD panel. So when we remove the panel, like those things come with it. So that's why we had to disconnect the ribbon cables at the very start. So then with that taped on, there's tape at the very top of that is actually taping onto LCD. So I'm just going around and removing that. Again, normally they don't have this kind of tape, but Sharp tends to tape everything. And then I bought some suction cups from Canadian Tire. You have to basically use suction cups. I wouldn't use your hands because this is so flimsy, and like if you crack the screen, you can't get a new screen because they're way too flimsy to ship. Then you can remove the rest of the screen, the screws, and then there's these little plastic else like panel that comes in sections. So you just remove that, and then you have this white paper. I taped them together so you just know the right orientation. I put it right over the LCD screen just to protect it, because when you're moving around, like, you don't want to bump it. So this is the inside of your TV, and you see you have probably several hundred LEDs. And usually, like, if one of them goes, like, the whole TV doesn't turn on because it detects that there's like a surge in current or there's not enough voltage. And at first I thought it would be like a broken LED. Like, it has these contact parts where you can inject the voltage. And I did inject some voltage, and I found that they were all working. So then on the end, I saw right here that it has extra protection diodes, and you can see it's really brown. So these are known as flywheel diodes, and when the TV first turns on, there will be a surge of current, and those help with that. But if there's too much, it breaks them. But if those break and they short to ground, the whole TV doesn't work. So I found that was the case in this TV, because I tested all the LEDs. You can see I'm just going before that flywheel diode, and all the strips are working. So it's like a perfectly working TV. It's just those protection diodes. And technically, you don't need those diodes. There's two there, and they put them in parallel with the reverse polarity to the lines there for the surge current. And when you test them with my multimeter, basically you should get 0.76 as a good forward voltage. And this one I'm getting 1.5. So like these end ones have blown, and they're basically like shorting to ground. And so it's detecting that short, and that's why the TV's not turning on. So they really have too much brains in these smart TVs. Like, I'd rather actually have a dumb TV, to be honest. Like, why stop my TV when it's actually not a real big problem? So I'm just gonna be like breaking off these bottom ones, and I test them all out. There's like 6 rows or something like that. And if I found that the forward voltage was bad, I'm just gonna mark it with a highlighter, and then I know if it's bad or not. And I just found that basically in those two, it's always the bottom one, and the bottom one is connected to the ground of the connector, and it's reverse polarity, obviously. And it's the same thing with the other one as well. So yeah, and they're really poor quality, because those diodes, they can't take very much. You can see how small they are. They could have a more robust. If I was gonna do like a protection circuit, like, honestly, they put a really garbage one there, and I think it's just so that it purposely breaks and you have to buy a new TV. Honestly, all the companies seem to be doing that. Is they don't want your TV to last 20 years, 10 years. Like 5 years is like max that I've really seen for these new LED TVs, but the old TVs would last a lot longer. And if they're going to do this, I'm not 100% sure like the size of those flywheel diodes, but they're really poor quality. I would have had a really robust flywheel diodes that wouldn't go bad. I'd rather have the LEDs. Like, it's for protection, yeah, but the LEDs, when they pop, it turns off anyway. So basically, there is no need. The other TVs do not have this. So I would remove them or upgrade them to a more robust one there. So yeah, anyways, this is just me thinking. All of them are bad. I marked them. You can actually see them burnt. So you don't actually really need any tools to test this, like a multimeter. Just look anything that's burnt and then just break it off. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 rows there. So these LEDs, they are acting like protection, as I'm saying. So why do they put them? If you know, I already know it's because when it first turns on, okay, there's a surge, whatever. But usually that surge is not going to destroy your LEDs. It's for the reverse current, basically. But if you know more, you can put a comment in the comment section about these and what is the maximum voltage, because down the strips it's like 100 volts, really low current, so they should probably have better ones. If you know the diode type, you can drop it in the comments. So just use a screwdriver, and I'm just breaking them off. This crumbles, like really poor quality for these diodes. And just broke them all off, and I plugged it in. Look at that, it all turns on, not a problem. It doesn't break, because that's a lot of LEDs and it can handle quite a bit of reverse current there, because they are LEDs in themselves. The lights, they are acting like diodes, and they're all in series in the strip. So if one goes, then the whole TV turns off, which is like protection in itself. I put it all back together, and you can see it's just like a brand new TV that couldn't be working because of that flywheel diodes. But you want to go into settings and change the backlight, because usually that happens because the voltage or brightness is set up at maximum. That's always the problem. So I go into the settings, put that down to like 50%, because that's going to make your TV last a lot longer. And if something is broken, like the chances are something may break in the future as well. It's just like an older car. Like you have to take better care of it. Thanks for watching this video. Hope it helped out. If you enjoy electronics or want to learn about how to fix electronics, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.